far, so good. I'm gonna wait until I see it pop. Yesterday, it'd go to a certain point and then just hang.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna wait till it goes all the way through before you even announce anything. There it is. We are live. Hello, I'm Eagle Gardens, Eagle Gardens 1 on Instagram, and this is fucking talking shit with Eagle. This is episode 159. I hope you guys had a great Friday. It's been pretty good for the most part until the last few minutes, relying on Zoom, thinking I can rely on Zoom and just think everything's gonna click. But other than that, it's been a pretty awesome day. You got a pretty cool gentleman in front of us, a gentleman I know you've seen around in all the chats. dubbltap.farms, how you doing tonight?
Doing well. How are you doing, Eagle?
Pretty well. Why don't you tell, is Instagram the only place we can find you?
I got a can of buzz, double tap double tap with 2 O's on the end, but I don't really post on it as much.
Nice. What are you smoking on there, friend?
I got some triple chocolate chip. Picked this up from a dispensary by my house, can of buzz. I don't know if that's very clear, I can't see. But yeah, this stuff, man, it's pretty nice. I'm really enjoying it.
Who's that bred by?
Man, I looked it up, but I cannot remember. It's chocolate mint by Triple OG, I believe. Nice and stony. It's got like some of that musky deep, a little bit sweet on it. Apologize in advance if my dogs start going off.
Sounds pretty tasty. Sounds pretty tasty.
Yeah, my dogs are kind of crazy, man. They'll start barking. So hope it ain't too bad.
No problem. What you got in the background? Is that, I see that's fish tank on both sides.
Yes, sir. And there's one in the middle too, but I turned that light off because, man, that damn thing was too bright. Yeah, I got a 75-gallon on this side, and then I got a 40-gallon on the other side.
What kind of fish you got in there?
I got like some South African cichlids, community fish. Like on this side, I got a bunch of schooling fish. They all like to like hang out together and take off and shit. And then got like a breeding pair of cichlids. They have babies every now and then. Well, they lay eggs, but then they eat the motherfuckers, so I don't ever get them. Other side, I have some guppies, some little catfish, and the same kind of cichlid, but just a single one. It was getting its ass whooped, so I had to move it.
Nice. You feeding your plants that water?
Yes, sir. Not too late in flower, but yeah, all through veg, early flower. Yeah, I hit them up. I will take like the filter waste and I'll put it in my built like a air brewer, like a vortex style. Doesn't work quite right, but it works all right. And I'll put all that filter waste in there because I have 5-gallon canister filters. Man, that shit gets nasty, but the plants just love it.
Yeah, they do. They do. Nice. So I guess I'm jumping a little far ahead. Asking about
Yeah.
the tanks, well, asking about if you give it to the fish or plants anyway. So when was that first time? When was your first introduction to the plant?
Man, I heard about it whenever I was younger. I was a product of the whole DARE, keeping the kids off drugs. And man, hear about it. And then whenever I got in 6th grade, man, I got introduced to a few people. Man, their parents smoked, and we went over there and we smoked a bunch of seeds and stems and got goofy as shit and thought we were the shit. Just kind of went from there. Trying to keep track of chat over here on my other phone. I'm like scrolling down. Everybody says it's hard. They ain't fucking lying.
Yeah, feel free to give shout outs. I forgot to address that part too, but they're a huge part of the show. You see anybody that you want to give shout outs to, or anybody you just want to give shout outs to,
Oh
you
yeah, I want to
feel
shout out
free
my
to do
friend
so.
Amanda.
Or
Yeah,
any
my friend
questions you
Amanda's in
might see,
chat.
during the time.
Oh yeah. Jaws Warrior.
Roll up my
Shout out Jaws.
Cougars.
Shit. Yeah, man, whenever I started smoking in 6th grade and shit at I smoked pretty much all through middle school and early high school. Planted a few seeds when I was real young in a windowsill, and I didn't know what the fuck I was doing. They just got real leggy and died. But I thought that shit was always pretty cool. I always had fish tanks too, growing up. So I always, liked the fish and thought it was cool, that, the fish and the plants, they just love that fish water. So, it just kind of clicked for me. Like all these tanks, they all got live plants. I don't do the plastic or none of that shit. Got driftwood, rocks. Uh, this tank over here actually has dirt underneath the sand. So the plants feed like out of that potting soil that's underneath there. It's pretty sweet. Works well.
So, as you were smoking there, has it always been recreational? I know it sounds like a silly question, or did you find some medicinal use early on, or do you use it? Are you a medicinal user now? I guess that's fair enough, seeing how it's recreational in a lot of states.
Yeah. Yeah, started out, it was definitely recreational. We was just getting stoned. I met a bunch of good friends through it. But then as I started getting older, I'm a mechanic, by trade. So, constantly like banging my body up. And, as a kid, I was always real rough riding dirt bikes and shit, crashing. So, now that I'm older, I actually enjoy it, as a medicine. As I got older, I was smoking. I'm like, man, I don't feel near as bad. That's pretty fucking awesome.
It's I find it to be the very same way. Uh, so, what strains do you find that work the best for you? What strains do you enjoy the most for medical use? Let's say that. Let's start with that.
Yeah,
Medical use. Which ones work the best for you?
I like them, them gassy, dank, earthy, that real deep, musky shit. That's the real nice medical shit. The stuff that, takes the edge off and, allows you to go to sleep or, you know, you can just like kind of chill out and just forget about all the bullshit. But I like my sativas as well. I try to grow a few myself. They're kind of difficult, but you just weave them around a little bit. But it's hard to pick sativas up around here because nobody wants to give the effort into it. I guess the effort that they don't want to put the time into it. But yeah, I like sativas, for in the morning or, like nice and uplifting. And you know, and then in the evening, you know, I'll like a nice indica.
Any particular strains that you're fond of so far?
Mm, nah, I mean, most of the stuff that I grew back in the day was, you know, it was just bag seed. So I never really knew what it was. And, you know, whatever you got from whoever, it was, you know, it was whatever was hot at the time. So who fucking knows what it really was. Uh, but, you know, now growing, I mean, I've grown a Girl Scout cracked by seedsman that, you know, that shit was really nice. Um, I actually had a run in with bugs real bad, some russet mites, and I lost a bunch of shit that I had liked that I'd been keeping going, but I'm on the hunt. I'm gonna find some more shit.
You mind sharing how how you got over the mites there? I mean, everybody comes across them at one point or another, and there might be somebody out there listening right now that's battling them. You want to tell them how you can get overcome your problem with them?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not completely overcome with them or like, you know, through them. These motherfuckers are resilient as hell, but I've gotten them knocked way back to where they're not killing shit. You know, the damage isn't near as noticeable. So mostly what I found, you know, heavy defoliation, you know, clean everything up real well, clean all that lower shit up. If they're too bad, just fucking kill them. Like some of them, you ain't gonna get them back. Uh, uh, wettable sulfur, you know, in veg and very early flower, like weeks 1 or 2, as long as you don't have any bud set. I don't. As soon as I see pistils, I quit. The wettable sulfur, I spray it once a week. I spray it on all the veg plants. Mix it at 1 tablespoon per gallon, and I spray with lights on. I don't really notice a detrimental effect. Then once I get into flower, I spray Dr. Zymes. I don't spray it as much because I start to release predator mites. I buy like a 3 mite blend. I can't even pronounce the names. I don't even have the bottle with me right now, but yeah, I release those. I do it once a week. Run my vet or my tents are hot. Like I run it uninsulated, well, poorly insulated building. So I run like 85, 90 degrees all the time. Only the strong survive, but the plants, you know, they do pretty well. As long as I keep everything somewhat on point, they do pretty well. But yeah, when it's hot, the russet mites or broad mites, man, they multiply really quick. So I keep up with it weekly.
Yeah, they do. So when was your first, I guess, serious attempt at getting a grow off? I mean,
Uh,
not even serious. When was your first? You actually got a light, some pots. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Or did you start outdoors? I guess that's always a
no, no,
possibility too.
started indoors. Uh, man,
Nice.
we bought some really good weed one time, me and my buddy, and they told us it was White Widow. Shit was frosty as hell, but it was these little bitty baby like larvae nugs, and it got us baked because we had been smoking brickweed forever. And I looked at that weed and I was like, dude, this shit is badass. And he's like, yeah, this is that dro, it's hydro. And I'm like, all right, man, that's fucking cool. And so it kind of like stuck with me, hydro. And I'm like, man, if I want to grow that good weed, I gotta get some hydro. So you know, I read a bunch of forums online. It was probably back, I don't know, 13 years ago, I guess, a little bit longer. You know, I read a bunch of forums online, read about like some DWC buckets. A lot of people were using 5 gallons, so I got that, and just air stones. And I ordered some seeds online from this place, and it said they were indica, short flowering, like 6 to 8 weeks. They're gonna stay real short, and took forever to get here. And then when they did show up, and I planted them, these bitches were like some crazy tall sativas, like fucking tall as shit. They I didn't really know the light proof, you know, in the dark cycle, so they stretched even more, and had the light a little bit too far up. Was using 150 watt HPS, and man, they grew up. They were hitting the ceiling. I was like, holy shit! Had them bowed over, man. They looked like a damn bow with string holding them down, and I was only able to really get shit off of the very top, and I didn't lollipop anything. I didn't even know what that was, and I let them go for a long ass time because I kept looking at them. I'm like, man, these don't look like anything like I've seen before. And they had like little bitty fingers, like just growing up because I tied it over. But it was frosty as hell, had a little bit of pink to it. And yeah, I grew 2 of them. They were identical, like 2 females. I'd never even had seen a male. And yeah, popped some other random bag seeds. Found one that was like really, really nice, real rock hard nugs, flowered really fast. Um, yeah, I cloned that thing for a long time, and only grew for about a year and a half, 2 years at that point. I had to quit. Some shit, you know, happened. Life changed, so I had to give that up. I always said I was going to do it again, though.
So how long from that point to the next point? I mean, how long did you have to suffer?
Yeah, man, I guess I'd say 10 years, 9 maybe. Uh, I smoked a little bit. Basically, when I quit growing, I quit smoking, and I didn't smoke for a year and a half or 2 years. And it was over a girl that I had met. And she was like, "If I ain't gonna date no drug user, that's horrible." I was like, "What the fuck? It's just weed." Well, I'm gonna get my meth pipe out. I'm like, "What the fuck are you talking about? Like, this is not the same shit." And so I quit smoking. I quit growing. I actually had a plant. It was about week 7, and it had just barely formed the nug, starting to swell. It looked real nice, and I had to hurry up and chop it all down because of the shit that was going down. And uh, we chopped it down. I called my buddy while I was out of town. I was like, "Man, I got this shit. It's all dried up in pickle jars. I got it stashed at my house. You need to come get it." So he went over and picked it up. It's probably like 3 ounces worth. He was in heaven. He loved it. But yeah, it was probably, I started smoking. I didn't want to grow because I was too paranoid. It wasn't legal. My daughter was getting older, so I didn't want to, you know, have like, didn't want to get a whole bunch of shit started. So I waited, and then it legalized here for medical, and that was about 2 years ago. And I didn't get it first off because I'm paranoid. I was like, fuck that shit. They're going to do all this crazy shit. I didn't want to get my door kicked in, and I just wanted to double check, and everything was smooth. So I was like, man, fuck this. I'm going to get my card. So I got my card, and as soon as I got my card, like it came in the mail, and I planted a seed, just a random bag seed I had. And it actually turned out to be pretty nice. Second seed I planted was some random bag seed, and it was, I think, one of those fucking crazy sativas, but it was a male. That thing looked wild too. I was started back in DWC in these homemade buckets. They were 3-gallon shoebox style buckets. Whole saw, cut out the top, put a little net pot, air stone, and you know, mix up your hydro solution. It's using the 3-part GH, general hydroponic. I use it whenever I run DWC. I'm going to do some more DWC this winter once it gets a little cooler. I can't do it with the, you know, the heat. I always get pythium or root rot, or the they just fuck up. So I don't fuck with it. But always run my newts real light, half to quarter strength, you know, mostly quarter strength, and then see how the plants do and then bump it up. I fried some shit in DWC. Like I followed the nutrient guidelines and I mixed the nutrients and I put my plant in it and I went to bed, woke up, went to work, came home, checked it, and that shit was dead on the branches. Like everything was fucking straight down and it was crispy. I was like, what the fuck? I'd never seen anything like it. Them bloom boosters. Put too much of them bloom boosters in. It was like the crystal concentrate, and they said like I don't even remember what it was, but it was quite a bit. I put that in there and 3 gallons of water, and it fried that shit. Learned the hard way. You're muted, Eagle.
I hate that.
Oh shit, Eagle's gone. I don't see him. It's a Double Tap Farm Show, guys. How are y'all doing? Double Tap here. Oh shit. Cut off my show. Maybe I get a repeat later.
There we go. Okay, I think I'm back. I can't see you, but I can hear you.
Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, you're back. What up, Wawa?
I love this, man. I'm definitely tomorrow. Tomorrow is Internet Day. I am double checking my IP, all that good stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, there is a lag American one.
Um, so how long do you run your DWC? Is that your preferred method? I mean, I always say that's the. I don't know if you heard this before I dropped out, but I think that's the race car of the systems.
Yeah,
Myself, it's definitely
it's
you can get your
impressive.
biggest yields, your fastest yields out of the DWC, but like you said, it doesn't take long for things to spin out of control. If
Yeah,
just hours sometimes.
it is. Yeah, I really like the DWC just because of the
I
vigor and
don't
the
know
growth.
unless
Yeah, the vigor and growth I get from the DWC, you know, I always love that. Man, you'd fill a 2x4 tent, nothing flat, veg
you
for
ever
two
got.
weeks. But yeah, you veg a plant for 2 weeks and
You
then
ever thought
flip
about
it.
putting an air pot in one of the fucking tanks right there?
Yeah, I thought about it. I really have. I've actually rooted clones. I have a sump underneath this tank on my left here, and I put clones in there with the light over them, and they'll root out in about a week. Uh, yeah, shit, they fucking take off. You know, as soon as they root and they get a couple little like root hairs started, man, then you get some pretty good growth. They actually start to like where they fade a little bit and start to get like that real light color green because they're like just really trying to grow.
Probably don't even hit that yellow phase when they start to push out them roots. They just probably just start to take right off, throw some roots, and just go.
Yeah, they just lighten up just ever so slightly, and yeah, they're ready to go. And take them from there and put them in like a solo cup or something. They fill up solo cups pretty quick usually. Uh, I have some 1 gallons that I've tried, some little plastic. I don't think they're quite 1 gallons, but like nursery pots, and man, those things they fill those up pretty quick too. They grow a lot better in those.
So do you take a downtime in the hot months, or do you switch mediums just for a few?
No, I pretty much quit all the DWC probably about 6 months ago, maybe 7. Started mixing my own soil. I started with the subcool. I followed his recipe and mixed up some subs or some super soil. And the first run with it, I ran a Girl Scout crack, and I was fucking impressed. That shit was, man, it was frosty and it was super terpy, and I was like, man, I really like this. It's fucking easy too. I barely had to water. I was I was scared to run out of root space or run out of nutrients halfway through with a small pot, so I used a 20-gallon in a 32 by 32 tent, and I put one plant in it that was, you know, for me it was like medium size, but you know, probably, I don't know, 12, 12, 13 inches tall, and already been topped a few times, so it started to bush out. And then I vegged it for about another week, maybe a week and a half, flipped it, and it got fucking big. It didn't fuck around. And I didn't even have that good of a light, a 130-watt blurple, and it turned out great. So I was like, man, I really like that. So, I ran the super soil. I had another 20-gallon pot that I had made, and I let it cook longer. And I ran that with I ran 3 morning dews by Irie Genetics, Rasta Jeff. And man, those 3 morning dews in that 20-gallon, I just kept them in solo cups until they were root bound slightly, and then put them in the 20-gallon. I vegged them for about a week, flipped them, and then trellised the shit out of them. And man, I got about 2 ounces of plant. One plant actually had 4 ounces. It was more towards the center of the light, and that was in my 2x410. I had a slightly stronger 220-watt little cheap Chinese box light, but yeah, they turned out really good as well. Showed colors real nice. Got super frosty, and I didn't have to water as much as you would think, having 3 plants in a 20-gallon, because they work fairly small. But it was pretty cool because I use a soil moisture meter, like a little cheap one, but you jab it in the soil and it tells you, on a little meter, and it works okay, especially for the big pots that you can't pick up. And you could see like each plant would use a different amount of water, out of its like a little space around the roots. And they had slight deficiencies towards the end, but it was just slight little bit of edge burning on the leaves or whatnot. Got a real nice fade. They turned out really nice.
3 girls to a pot doesn't really sound too bad in a 20. I mean, maybe for an organic, because you have to go maybe a little bit bigger than you normally would. So I hear, anyway. Uh, but I've done 2 to a 10 before, and they do just fine. And there's, that's a little. I've actually had a few talked to a few lawyers about that. And if you do two of the same strain, you know, 6 inches apart in the same spot and the same pot there, you do actually, yield out a little bit better. But moreover, that in most cases holds up as one plant, one
Oh
container,
yeah.
one pot, or one plant. There's, from what I've understood it, you could you can kind of get away with that a little bit though. So that's
Yeah.
kind of why I've done it in a few cases there. Especially in in like some of the plants that you maybe do a smaller yield. You know what I mean? I'm expecting a smaller yield, so I
Yeah.
may double up with some of them girls in the same pot just to equal some shit out.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Are you what's your guys' kind of numbers? I don't know if you want to say where you're at, but what You don't have to, by the way, either. But are you guys limited on numbers, or how? What's your guys' numbers like there? Everybody's kind of limited numbers, I guess.
Yeah, it's 6 plants, 6 immature plants and 6 mature plants. So like however that, whatever that means. Six immature and 6 seedlings and 6 mature. We actually, like here, as me and my roommate, we share. We have 2 licenses, so we have the 2 plant, the double plant count. We don't really utilize all of it, but we have it, just in case. I don't want to be. I'm just trying to do it, do it the right way, stay within the law. So I try not to, blow a shit out too much. It's one of them deals, you're lucky enough to get to grow, without them fucking with you. So, I don't want to fuck it up.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. I was just curious.
Yeah.
You know.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what they mean by like the 6 seedlings and 6 mature.
So, yeah, and with that being, yeah, they always got to have some friggin' gray in there.
Yeah.
Sounds like 6 veg, 6 flower, but
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
don't
but
know.
like it's like kind of weird when you try to read up on it. It's fucking weird. Like it's worded all different. So I just, I just try to keep, like whenever I flip them and they start to show pistils, I'm like, yep, they're mature. All right, we got it.
Right. Yeah, even if that's the case, it almost sounds like they're watching out for you guys a little bit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They're
Yeah.
like, don't forget your veg. You got to have some ready
Yeah.
to go when the ones are
Yeah.
flowering.
Yeah. You got your little worksheet all set up. Got all your little pots. Yeah, from what I've heard, it's like we have some of the loosest, like regulations, as far as some people, I know a lot of people have a lower plant count than that. So I mean, when they wrote the law, they put a lot of good stuff in there, but it's still, they're always missing stuff. Should have get worked out.
Yeah, it's still medical there. Is that where you guys are
Yeah,
medical only?
yeah, still
Hopefully, you
medical.
guys ride that line for. Hopefully, you guys stay that way for a nice long while.
Yeah, hopefully it stays.
I don't know why. I'm just every time the wreck comes, it just brings so much crazy change. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. I don't know if I said where I'm
I
from. I'm
think
from
that's a
Oklahoma.
good thing and
Like,
a bad thing, I guess.
yeah, yeah. I'm from Oklahoma, by the way. Like, that's where I'm at for the medical. I don't know if I mentioned that. 405. What up? Just kidding. Shredder, I'm running I have South American cichlids right now and some just some community tropical fish. Uh,
I had a
just
couple brothers there.
oh yeah, it's a good place. It's not as expensive as some places. Gets hot as shit. We still get kind of cold. We'll get snow sometimes. A couple feet deep.
I can relate to that. I definitely can relate to that. So, what kind of light are you running under now? So you're under super soil. Are you still in the 20-gallon pots running that type of system? I mean,
No,
what's going on in the grow now?
yeah, I kind of switched it up. I've been the more that I read and the more podcasts I listen to, the more I kind of learn here and there. And, I try to keep things, pretty diverse. I want to run quite a few things, quite a few dry amendments. I kind of cut out all the back guanos and stuff. Use like the fishbone meal, langbonite, just like some of the different. I use a lot of different amendments, but in smaller amounts. I wish I should have wrote that shit down because I have a terrible memory. But yeah, I try to keep it, real diverse. I mix a bunch of soil up at once. I try not to mix it too hot now. Like a super soil. I try to keep it just more like on like a living soil. Uh, I use a lot of what I do is I use my earthworm castings, some red wigglers. Got a couple worm bins. Just feed them my scraps. They eat a shit ton of coffee. Kind of juice them up maybe. But yeah, I use a shit ton of worm castings. Probably a third to 2/3 of my pot are worm castings, and then I top it off with that living soil. A lot of times the worm castings, they have worms or the eggs in them, so I try to pick a lot out to keep them in the bins, but they go with it. Uh, I've been running 3 gallons on running some testers by Candy Queen Genetics. Shout out, shout out to the Candy Queen's Guard. Running some Wookiee Unicorn F2s. Oh, Eagle's gone, so I'm gonna keep going. But yeah, running the Wookiee Unicorn F2s. I got them in 3 gallons. These ones I did about 2/3 worm castings with worms and or
No,
worms. Yeah.
I'm here, brother.
All right, I'll just keep going. But yeah,
Can you hear me?
fucking, yeah, I got you. But run the 3 gallons, the worm castings. Top them off with the living
No,
soil. I usually run them until about
I'm here.
8. Yeah, I
Can you
run
hear
them
me,
till.
brother?
Yeah, yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Uh, I just I just cambered off for a minute to see if it helps out with the lag a little bit. I appreciate you being patient, man. It's got to
Nah,
be
nah,
tough.
shit.
I don't know how bad the lag is on your end, but it seems to
It's
be pretty bad.
yeah,
But you're being a
yeah.
trooper about it.
Shit. Hey, we're just talking shit, right? Fucking talking shit with the Eagle. That's what it's about. Shit fucks up, it's not your fault. It's fucking internet's always out to get you. We're just gonna just keep going about it.
I'm trying like hell anyway. I'm trying like hell. Keep it going.
Shit, you got
So,
it.
tell me a little bit about your process a little bit. Do you like to, how long do you like to veg? Do you like to do a lot of top, do low stress training? What's your method like getting them prep for flower?
So, I like to let them get just a slight bit root bound in solo cups. If I start a seed, that's mostly what I've been doing here lately is popping seeds, trying to find some new shit to keep. So, I let them get slightly root bound. I usually top them in solo cups. About once they hit the 5th node, I top them back to the 3rd. Most generally, get I guess the manifold or the main line, kind of started. I bend them, use some bread tie, that bread tie material. Most of the time, I put them in like 1 gallons to start out, uh, with some light soil, and then I bend them down using paper or binder clips on the edges of the pot, and then I loop the the bread tie material up through there around the branches. Try not to like rip them down the middle. It's happened quite a few times, but yeah, I try to train them down, get as many tops I can get going. I usually veg them for 3 to 4 weeks. Uh, well, I guess I usually veg them 2 weeks in the 1 gallons, and then I'll move them up to the like this time to the 3 gallons, and then once I moved into the 3 gallons, I went another 2 weeks. And since they had the russet mites, so bad, they got stunted in the beginning, but then they started to really shoot off once I got, everything kind of back into control. And, they started to shoot off. Top dressed them at about day 25. I did some fishbone meal, a little bit of kelp meal, and malted barley. I sprinkle the malted barley on top, water it in. Use recharge, quite a bit. And then, like we talked about in the beginning of the show, I use my fish water or the fish waste that, I kind of brew it up into a tea, real thick, nasty ass tea. It doesn't really stink. Once you brew it a little bit, when you first put it in there, it smells pretty horrible. And then you brew it for. I actually talked to Leighton Morrison about this. He's the one who gave me this tip. You brew it until with no food, like no molasses, until it starts to lose that stink and get a little bit sweet, and then you put a little bit of food in, because you basically let the good microbes, that you've been aerating, kind of, kill off the anaerobes, and then once you get those, the aerobic microbes, starting to take over, you can smell a slight sweet smell to it. And then when you add your sugars, not too much. And man, the fucking plants love it. If you use a too late in flower, it seems to make your buds real stretchy. They don't stack, as like tight as you'd want. They take forever to flower sometimes, to finish. They just stay green forever and just keep going. Yeah. I have another tent,
So
32
if
by.
there's any,
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you, brother.
No, you're good.
Go ahead.
I have, so my grow space that I grow in is I use an 8x8 tent, and inside of that 8x8 tent, I have a 4x4 veg area that I have a 2x4, like a dirt pot, has the PVC frame with the material, the air material, like net pot material or mesh. But it's about 60 gallons. I run autoflowers in that, so I can pull a little bit, for here and there out of that bed, with autoflowers. Sometimes with those autoflowers in that fucking bed, they really blow it out, man. I've had some monsters. Had a Malawi Northern Lights autoflower by A Seeds. Man, that bitch was big, and she was like had big beefy ass nugs. I really enjoyed that one. She was huge for that little space. But yeah, I have a 2x4 tent and a 32x32 that I flower in. I'm about to change all this because I'm getting like running out of space. I want to run more shit. So the the Wookiee Unicorn testers by Queen are in the 2x4 tent currently, and then in my 32x32 tent I have two Land and Air Genetics Captain Kirks. And these girls are more on the sativa side. They're like narrow leaf and super stretchy. They probably stretch 3 to 4 times. They're at about day 32, I guess, maybe 31. Uh, just barely starting to crown up. Like, I mean, just barely. And I've weaved them all through there, like all through this tent. It's like a complete tent of just tops. Uh, One of them was a little deficient. She fell behind a little bit, or I fell behind, I should say, on the nutrients. Missed her a little bit, but she's starting to green back up. I've been hitting her with these these fish shit teas that I make, and maybe that's why she's like taking forever. But yeah, they're a longer strain, 10 to 13 weeks, I believe. On the Captain Kirk. But yeah, I'm looking to get sent straight to the moon. That's what I hope I get out of this one.
So, how do you how do you like to dry? Are you a dry hanger, or you like to just chop them and hang? You like
Yeah,
to wet trim 'em?
yeah.
What's your
My
drying process like?
my preferred drying process is whole plant if I can manage it, if they're small enough. Excuse me. Yeah, we'll chop the bigger plants down into smaller pieces. I grow out there in that hot ass environment, but I dry indoors. I got a small tent that I dry in, carbon filter, and a little, uh, like an exhaust fan hooked up, not a real high volume, but it, keeps smell down and it keeps the humidity, at a nice level. Dry them in there for, usually 7 to 10 days, and then dry trim them and into jars, burp them if I have to. I actually try to put them in there a little bit on the wetter side, about 65%, and then try to let them, swing down to where I want it rather than, over drying it. Because I've over dried a bunch of shit, so I don't want to fuck it up. But, I keep it up, try to get them to about 65%, and then I just keep a close eye on them, burp them if they need it. If I check it and it started to increase, I'll, dump it out, let it dry. Uh, That's probably my preferred way. I keep jars, like set back, and then I have my smoking jar. So I just try to let everything, sit back and cure as much as I can. But I smoke a bunch, so I don't usually get to cure very much.
You make any kind of extracts? And do you utilize that, guys? There, yeah.
Uh, yeah. I do like some tinctures, Everclear, the alcohol. Do the Everclear tinctures here and there, or make butter. I want to get into making like candies or gummies and stuff. I have all the stuff to do it. I just haven't actually tried to do it. I'm sure I'm gonna really fuck it up, so I just haven't been super eager to jump into it. Uh, but yeah, I use a tincture here and there, not too much, because I'm one of those guys. So if I eat too many brownies, like if I actually feel the brownie, usually I go to sleep. Or if I like fill my tincture, I drip it under the tongue and it burns like a bitch because this shit is dark, has a lot of chlorophyll. And I think that's what I was reading is what causes like this shit to burn so bad because it's pretty dirty looking. I didn't really clean it up like I should have. But yeah, that Everclear tincture, whenever I drip it, I try to hold it under my tongue and I feel that shit within 10 minutes. I only use that if like I had a real bad day, like, my shit's all fucked up, you know, like as a mechanic, like most what I'm best at is the engine shit, like engine drivability, like running concerns or problems with the engine, leaks, internal parts. I have to change motors sometimes or pull cylinder heads, stuff like that. So if I'm like, I do too much of that in a day, I'm like coming home, yeah, I'm getting some of this tincture, drip that shit, and just fight the burn. I need to dose up to where, I, do the heavy doses and then that way, like multiple days to, kind of build the tolerance, but I just haven't, I just haven't done it.
That seems to be the way it works the best for me is multiple days in a row. Seems to be like that first day I'm like good and tore up. Second day I've kind of got that drag a little bit, and then third day I'm like, yeah, let's do this.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
there is a
Always
little
hear
bit
you
of a
shout
build
that
up
out.
there for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. There's a question in chat. I gotta find it. Greg Hamilton. You find a difference in taste of weed from normal to aquaponics? I mean, I don't know if I'd really call what I do a true aquaponics setup, like what a Aquaponics Steve and them do. They're running like the dual root zones and whatnot. You know, I I wanted to set up like a nutrient film style, with PVC pipes where it pumps through. Or I actually thought about putting a bed up on top of one of the aquariums and trying to grow lettuce. Whenever had African cichlids, they like to eat well, they're vegetarian. I say they like to eat. They're vegetarian. They eat anything, but if you feed them like too much protein, they get bloat. And yeah, on the African cichlids, they're Malawi, and you have to cram them bitches in, or else they'll like rip each other to pieces. So you have to. In the 75-gallon, I had 35 or 40 fish, and they would fight constantly. But if you had enough, they would disperse the aggression out, through a bunch of individuals. But anyway, I'm getting off. I'm fucking squirreling on you. My bad. But should yeah, I don't. To answer your question, no, I don't know if I do, true aquaponics. So I can't answer that honestly.
Oh, it sounded like good info. You should have ran with that squirrel.
Yeah,
Definitely sounded like some good info
but
there.
shit. I mean, I'll talk about the fish.
Did you catch Leighton and Smiley's episode?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah, I've caught those. Man, I don't usually catch them, whenever they come out, but I catch them the next day while I'm at work or on the way to work. Man, always some good info. I really enjoy, whenever I get to hear Leighton go off on some shit. He's so fucking smart, and Smiley's got a lot of info as well.
You tell me about the fish. That's what we're here for, is learn
Yeah.
a little bit more about you and what you do. And I guess as I've done this few of these episodes, and I want to learn more about the person. I found these instances just like this where the person has to struggle a little bit. I get the most genuine answers because it's on the spot. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? It's like
Yeah.
I do enjoy this. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Comes right
Yeah.
off the top. So yeah, tell us about it, brother.
Yeah. Yeah. I had a
You've had to be.
whatever.
Uh, this leg's tough. Go ahead, brother. I'm sorry to keep interrupting you.
No, you're good. Yeah, it started. I had fish when I was a kid, but I didn't really know what I was doing. I had too big a fish for a small tank, and I didn't change the water as often as I should because I was a slacker. And so anyway, I didn't do fish, through my late teenage years, until I started back up, in my early 30s, I guess, maybe late 20s. I started out with a small tank, and was trying to do it right, but I didn't know what I was doing, and I fucked it up, and I had to like fight my way through it to get it working. And man, when there's something that I enjoy or something I want to do, like I put myself really into it. Like I try to really do my best. The way I look at it is, if I'm gonna do it, like why fuck around? You just fucking do it and do it right. So I really worked and started correcting shit that I was doing wrong, and decided that I couldn't get all these different fish from PetSmart that were from all over the world and put them together because they just like they shred each other. You come home and find dead fish, and you're like, what the fuck? This dude at PetSmart was like, oh yeah, this yellow one right here it was like super aggressive. He's like, yeah, that one would do fine with this other one. You put them together and they just like rip each other to pieces. I'm like, what the fuck? So I started
I
researching it.
can't help
So
but
yeah, go ahead.
being a good host, I have to jump in here. You led me right into it because you were talking, fucking around and doing it right. Uh, Buzz Lightyear wants to know Trojans or lifestyles. Inquiring minds want to know.
Lifestyles.
Want to know. There
Yeah,
you go.
lifestyles.
There you go.
Gotta do the lifestyles, or
All
you're
right.
gonna have to change your lifestyle.
There you go. The trusted brand. All right, back to the fish, brother. I had to just break it up
The-
a little
Excuse me. But yeah, I had the African cichlids for a while. I had 3 different breeding groups. They had 4 or 5 of each one, and then I had a sucker fish, and I had some African catfish, the Synodontis multipunctactus, if you're interested. But those guys are pretty badass. They're zebra spotted. Now get down. They're zebra spotted, and man, they eat the the cichlid eggs and lay their own eggs and let the cichlid pick up their eggs. And cichlids, the African cichlids, they hold their eggs in their mouth. They're called a mouth brooder. So they hold the eggs in their mouth, and the fry will actually hatch out in their mouth. And when they're big enough, the mom fish will spit them out and let them, live on their own. But if you do that in a normal tank, it'll all the other fish will eat them. But if the catfish, if they lay their eggs and the cichlids pick them up, then they'll actually eat all the cichlids fry that were inside of the cichlid's mouth. And basically, a parasitic breeder is what they call it. It's pretty interesting shit, man. I thought it was really cool. Never actually witnessed, that happen, but I seen the catfish, doing like breeding behavior, trying to, like interrupt the cichlids breeding to do their thing. But yeah, the 3 breeding groups of cichlids, and they 4 or 5 of each group, 1 male, and then the rest females. The males super aggressive. They'll like chase all the females around, but they all kind of hang out in their own little groups, unless they like want a place inside of your rocks, and then they'll fight over the rocks. But yeah, man, them things, you'd come home and everything would be good. And whenever I come home, I walk in, I walk up and look, and there'd be one floating. And he's like beat the hell up. I'm like, what the hell, guys? Y'all were fine. So, I get him out, put him in a little, hospital tank, try to rehabilitate him. And then it was just a constant struggle. They're just too aggressive. And, I wasn't growing at the time, so I didn't really have much to do with their water. So I was just pouring it out into the yard. So, you had to change the water every 3 to 4 days to a week, when you run them, really highly stocked. So I was just draining out the yard. I had to cut the grass 3 times as much. So man, fuck this. Quit doing those. And nobody, whenever I was breeding them, nobody ever wanted the babies. They'd only want to give $1 for them, and you'd have 30 of them, but they only want 2. So you have all these fucking baby fish. You try to sell them to a pet store, like a little local, mom and pop style. They want, 3 or 4 inch fish, and that takes like 2 or 3 months at least, depending on the species. So, I couldn't hold them for that long, not at the rate that they were producing fry. So, yeah, I sold most of those off and gave a bunch of them away, on like online. And then started doing these South American cichlids. They're aggressive, but they're not near as aggressive. And I run less numbers. Like I have just in this tank only have 2 mating pair, or like mated pair. Uh, like I said, they have eggs, but they always eat the eggs. So if they lay eggs again, it'll be their 4th time, and I'm hoping that maybe they learned how to like maybe take care of their babies. But I don't know. You never know. They're fish. But yeah, the African cichlids, you can't put anything else with them. They'll tear them to pieces. You could put the catfish with them. They were fine because they were tough as shit. They would actually like chase the cichlids around.
I used to have a lot of Oscar fish, some
Yeah,
tigers,
yeah,
a few other Oscars.
yeah. I had Oscars
Actually,
whenever I was in school.
the last tiger ones I had got to be pretty big, and I don't know what happened, but something set them off, and they got fighting, and they ended up breaking the heater there in the tank, and it got warm in that tank and too warm before I could catch it, and it ended up killing them off.
Yeah,
I was all upset. I mean, that was it. That was the last attempt I had at fish. That was a long time ago. But I did do Oscars for, I don't know, I want to say like 6 years. It was heartbreaking. That's why I didn't
yeah,
go again. I was like, oh man,
yeah. Oh
this
shit, I hear
sucks.
you.
In fact, the
Yeah,
set I had were actually given to me by my mom before she had when I passed on, and but yeah, it was tough to see him go, and I just couldn't do it after that.
Yeah.
It's a lot of work, man. That's for how the amount of tanks you got there. I mean, it
Yeah.
sounds like it's definitely something a passion for you, but
Yeah.
it's a lot of
Yeah. I
work.
enjoy
I
it.
mean, it's just on top of growing and working. It's
Yeah.
you. You sounds like you got a pretty full schedule, man.
Yeah.
Just right there.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
Shit. It's worth it to me though. I like to come home and look at my fish. I like to feed them. Like I said, all the live plants. I really like the live plants. I never wanted to use the plastic shit. As I got older, I wanted to see like a natural kind of environment. I wanted it to be as natural for them as I can make it. And so I have to trim the plants every so often. Usually about every couple of months, I trim the plants. I throw all the plant trimmings into my worm bins. Uh, on this tank over here, I got these vines. They run up the wall, but on the other side, you can't see because the camera's cut off. But they actually run. Well, shit, I could probably turn it. They run up and yeah, they run up into the corner and go up and around. But I'm gonna train them bitches all the way around one day.
That's pretty bad.
But yeah, these tanks have been running a couple years. The oldest one is this one here on the left, with that vine growing out of it. It's been running for about 3 years, and then the one on the right's about 2 years. One in the center is about a year. Uh, it's really hard to keep smaller fish tanks. Like this one in the center is only a 20-gallon, and man, they build up with waste so quick. Like I have a very limited stock. I only have like a sucker fish, like a Bolivian ram cichlid, like really small dude, fully grown, and a couple of two guppies to be exact, male and a female. And man, I got all these plants in it, and it still gets blown up with algae because it just builds up so quick, being out of balance. So yeah, I need to fucking just let it run its course and keep changing the water as much as I can. I usually change the water once a week. I do about half the tank on all these tanks. I usually drain it about halfway. Uh, yeah, fill it up. Run the garden hose in. Make sure all the hot water runs out of it, and just fucking throw it on the side. Pump it full. I use a shit called Prime. It's like a water conditioner. Fucking takes the chlorine out of the water. It doesn't get chloramine, but we don't. As far as I know, we don't have chloramine in the water. Haven't had it tested or looked, but uh, yeah, I haven't noticed a difference. The fish they're fine, and the plants are fine. It's
I think it's cool that you actually like breed the fish. I mean, between the fish and the garden, you must be a pretty calm dude. I would think, just by
yeah,
observation, because you can lose yourself in a fish tank and then tune around. And I knew my happy place is the garden. Yeah, I mean, if I couldn't lose myself in the garden, if I went to leave the garden and sat down in obviously your living room there or whatever, I don't know where you're at, but sit around them tanks there and burn one,
yeah,
man, it'd be quite easy to burn one and just lose yourself in that fish tank for a few and just completely
yeah,
relax.
yeah. It's my aquarium gallery, as I call it. No, there's just a long one wall in my little dining room area. Uh, yeah, I
To be
fucking
honest
love
with
them.
you, I don't think the one more tranquil thing, if you could add one more thing to that, and hopefully you got it, is fireplace. Holy shit.
Hell
You
no, I'm too paranoid.
fireplace.
I'll burn my shit down.
Oh man, I
Nah,
have one myself. That's I do like that.
I always wanted a wood burning stove, but shit, one day whenever I move out of the city, if I can get somewhere out in the country or something, I have a wood burning stove.
Right. Right. So if you could make some changes in your garden anytime soon, I mean, if you could step it up, hypothetically, I understand we're all can only do what we can do, but if you could step it up and change your room and move up, what would you do? What would your first changes be?
So my actual next change I'm gonna do is I'm gonna do away with these smaller tents inside of the big tent. I just got some panda film and stick-on zippers to I'm gonna try to divide it, you know, to have two 4x8s. Has double doors on the front, so you know I can go in from either side, and then I'm gonna put a zipper, you know, a zipper in there so I can pass in between the two sides. I'm gonna try to run it like that and see if I can do better. And then also I've got some insulation. I'm gonna start insulating this building I'm in. It's old as shit. You know, it's half insulated on the bottom, but all of the roof and all that shit's not insulated. So you know, I had to get some money saved up. You know, fucking saved up. Got a bunch of insulation, so I'm gonna start putting some of that up. I want to rebuild that my damn building eventually. You know, I want something nice. You know, with actual rooms, or rebuild this piece of shit that I got and fucking build rooms in it. But yeah, got AC, but it's like just a small, like a freestanding unit. It works all right. It keeps my temps below 100. Like, so I guess I'm fortunate. But before I had that, and I used to run HPS before I ran all LEDs now. And whenever I was running the HPS, I had a 400-watt dimmable ballast, and it would get my temps really fucking high, like 130s. And I was like, yeah, that shit ain't gonna work. My fucking plants are pretty much dead. So started switching to all the LEDs. One of my main light that I have that I flower under that I really really like is a Mars Hydro SP250. That thing, I have it about 36 inches above the plants. I probably need to lower it because I thought they would stretch, you know, to grow to the light. And these Wookiee Unicorn F2s, they stayed super short. Like one of them has like no internodal spacing. It's just like stacked and stacked. I love it, but I'm afraid that some of the lower stuff isn't going to get light. And I like to, you know, clean them up real good on the bottoms, but on these, I was kind of letting them grow out a little bit more natural. I did top them, you know, so I guess you can't really call it that. And they had the bugs that pretty much, you know, fucked them up and stunted them. But I try to let them grow out, you know, what they could in satellite branches to see how it would fill out. They look good. Uh, yeah, on my feed, I've been posting, having one of the males, the Wookiee Unicorn F2 male. He looks really nice. Got real like tight clusters, you know, tight sacs, and got a little bit of pink, you know, pink and red in it. So I'm gonna hit it back to these girls, do a little bit of an open pollination, you know, on some of the lowers. Yeah, I like to fuck with shit. You know, like I said, I bred fish. You know, I used to want to breed dogs back in the day, but you know, as I got older, I was like, man, I don't need to breed dogs because there's already so many dogs, you know, that need a home. And you know, I like pits, so I don't want to breed a bunch of pits and they go out, you know, and get fought. So you know, I never went with that. So I was like, oh, fish, I'm gonna fucking breed me some fish. And then that didn't, you know, that didn't really work. So I'm like, I'm gonna fucking pollen chunk a little bit. You know, I enjoy it. I made a few seeds here and there. I'll never call myself a breeder. I'm just throwing some shit together to see what I get. But you know, it interests me. I like to research as much as I can on it. You know, and you know, I have so many questions, but yeah, a lot of the questions, you know, they've either been answered or they have no answer because who knows what you're gonna fucking get until you actually try it. You know, somebody could tell you you could breed these two together and you get this, but you have no fucking clue. Like you put them together and they don't even look the same. Like I tried to grow a Pennywise, you know, one of the subcool strains, and on the damn this Pennywise ended up being a male, and I had only popped one. So, but he looked awesome, and he smelled great. He smelled like lemons, you know, a little bit of spice on it. I fucking loved it. Great structure. I was really depressed he was a male. So I took a cutting and I flowered that out, and you know, just kind of on the side, uh, flowered him out. He looked great. He held pollen until like week 3 or something, and I used him to pollinate a few branches on a Girl Scout crack plant that I had, and a random bag seed that's like a little, kind of like a hash plant, but not, it's not super like frosty, like a bunch of stuff. Looks kind of old school, real spicy. But anyway, I hit that male back to those two, And the Girl Scout crack was like juicy fruit, and you know, real juicy, fruity smelling, a little bit of skunk and some burnt rubber on the stem rub. And this check, you know, or this Pennywise was lemon, you know, and spice. So I hit those together, and you know, I didn't really know what to expect, but I ended up getting one that smelled like grapefruit, and it was fucking awesome. But it ended up herming on me, so I was like, well, yeah, the very first seed I popped of my own creation, and it's a fucking got a damn pollen sac at week 3. I'm like, oh, this kind of fucking sucks. So I chopped it down. Yeah, I had like a rash of shit right then too. A bunch of bad shit happened. Ended up losing that whole flowering cycle there. So basically, these plants that are flowering now, like I've kind of had to shut down my whole flowering cycle, and I'm just now getting started back up. Fucking sucks, man. Them bugs are motherfuckers. Y'all need to IPM y'all shit. I thought it was a joke because back in the day I'd never seen a bug other than like some springtails, and they didn't fuck shit up. And then I get a clone, got a clone in. I'm like, oh yeah, this shit looks great. I ain't gonna fucking clean it up. It'll be alright. Just put it in there. Yeah, no, that shit. It gave me the russet mites and it gave me aphids, but I didn't know I had the russet mites for quite a while. They were just building up. I thought it was something else, or just, all that plant's just kind of fucked up, you know. So you limp it along, it starts to do better, and then another plant looks a little bad. I'm like, man, this must be some kind of fungus. And hit up Redbud Soil company around here in Oklahoma. Hit them up, you know, asked them if they had something for like rust fungus. They're like, yeah, send us some pictures of it. So I sent them pictures of my worst plant. They're like, dude, you need to research russet mites or broad mites, and changed my world. I've never been the same. But these motherfuckers, dude, they're crazy ass mites. Like I don't recommend anybody ever want to get them. I mean, it's cool that I'm learning how to kind of, you know, get them under control and deal with them. That way, if I ever have it again, I can do it. I already know what works. But that being said, I don't know what works all the way because I'm still fighting them. Other than a hard reset, I could do that, but I really don't want to do a hard reset. You know, I didn't want to lose the genetics I had at the time, which I ended up losing them anyway. So I should have just hard resetted. But hey, hindsight's 2020. I'm just gonna fucking do this shit and, you know, wish for the best. And I'm gonna kill them with fucking 10,000 predator mites.
Oh yeah. So I enjoy my LEDs too. I actually been surprised at the Mars light that I've run lately. The TSW 2000, which that's a 300 watt. That one's running pretty decent.
Yeah. Yeah, I really like this Mars Hydro. I have a TS 1000 in the 32 by 32 tent, and it's 2.5 by 2.5 basically square. And I really like that. It's, man, I think you said it on one of your videos that you think it's a little bit overpowered for some of those smaller tents, and I have to agree, man. It'll blast the shit out of them. Like your plants will be a little sad looking after a little while if you keep that shit blasted fully. And I have it maxed out on height. I have to dim it back some. It could be, you know, like I didn't, you know, catch the mix just right on my soil, and plus it's hot, you know, and all that. But yeah, I have to dim that shit back because it just, my plants get sad.
Actually, it's back in the tent, but I actually had it out of the tent there for a minute. You know, I just things move quickly sometimes around here, and so I actually needed it for a different purpose, and I rehung it just out in the open there, and it did nice, just
Yeah,
in an open space. I mean, I dare say it covered that 4x4, you know, ish. It was actually more than a 4x4, but I don't want to say, you know, a bigger area. But it did that 4x4. The plants that were under it, right directly under it, were kicking ass.
really.
I was surprised. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna.
But
On my
yeah,
4x4 veg area, since I run autos in there, I really need to up my light. I have some single strip LED bars, little $100 jobs from Amazon. Have them bolted together on like a frame that I made to keep them, nice and level. Have them on ratchet straps. But it's doing okay. My autos are doing okay. They seem a little stretchy, but also I've never grown the strain, BH12 by Morningstar. It's known to, his shit's known to get huge, and so far this plant, it's pretty beastly. It's pretty early in its life. I mean, I run an 18/6 light schedule, and it seems to my plants always seem to, take longer than what everybody else, that their plants do, because they run the 20 and 4, or the 24 all the time lights. But yeah, this run I have the blue mats hooked up to it with the 3-gallon little Lowe's bucket, with the ports coming off of it. Have three carrots, one long carrot and two shorts, to like do the sawdust watering. Took a little bit of fine tuning. I've used it before, the blue mats, but when I used them in the past, I had a bigger reservoir. I learned this like the hard way too. I had like a 12 or 15-gallon reservoir hooked up to blue mats, and I had bumped a carrot and didn't reseed it, back down into the soil. And that bitch popped out while I was, back at work. And by the time I got home, it leaked that whole fucking reservoir into my 2x4 tent. My shit was just floating. My DWC bucket, it had enough water to keep it held down, but the air pump was fucking sucking up water. It was still running. I don't know how, but yeah, if you use blue mats, make sure you keep your carrots, nice and stake down, because them bitches will fucking rip out and they'll flood your shit.
I'm still a hand water guy myself. I
Yeah.
don't know why I fight new systems so bad.
Yeah, I still hand water
But
over the
it's
blue
just time I
mats.
enjoy. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I hand water everything else in there. Like all my other plants, I hand water. Uh, I actually built like a watering reservoir, like one of the brute trash cans. I took like a basement drain pump, like 100 or it's like a 1,300, 1,400 gallon per hour. Well, I think it's a 8th horsepower, but I built a manifold out of PVC off that tees off. And on one side, I have a valve, like an on and off T valve that directs it back down into the trash can. And then the other side, I have a threaded garden hose fitting. So what I do is on top, I have it cut out. So I have the valve and a switch. So I'll turn the switch on and I'll let it pump my water to circulate. And I let it circulate for a little bit before I water, to try to help build some dissolved oxygen back up into the water from sitting, between waterings. And I'll run it for a little bit, and then I'll turn the valve off. It has a hose, it has a spray nozzle, put it on shower setting, just kind of water around, check my pots, make sure that they're nice and, like not too heavy. I actually have one girl that's kind of pissed off at me out there because she's not drinking as fast as the other ones, and I just like hit her up with the rest of them because I didn't reach back to pick her up, and she is not happy. She got the clawed leaves and little overwatered, sad looking. I'm sure she'll bounce back. I just kind of haven't watered her for a few days. Yeah, go in, water all my shit with that. I run my blue mats a little bit on the dry side. And when I say that a little on the dry side, like I'm using this moisture meter. It's not an exact deal. It's just a needle. So like I just check it in several spots all over this bed. And yeah, check that. Run it a little bit dry so I can still water over it if I need to. If I see something's lagging, I'll kind of, water over it. And then I use recharge, and then these teas, I pour that over the blue mats. And they'll shut off, and it'll go like 2 days, and my reservoir won't even change levels. And then once it starts to dry out, I'll notice my reservoir will start to go down a little bit. And I have to fill it up, once a day. I just fill it up out of my bigger reservoir. Not too worried about that, because I'd rather have to fill it up, than have to clean a gigantic ass mess from a bigger reservoir. So I'm kind of trying to be real conservative on that.
So when you're breeding out there, do you are breeding out with your own males there, or you get pollen? You just kind of brushing the pollen on it when you working
Nah,
on that kind of projects.
just whatever I see that is interesting, smells good. I'm cutting a lot of males down that just either at the time I wasn't looking for a male, or it just wasn't real spectacular looking. I don't, like I said, I don't really know what I'm doing other than what I've read and seen and talked to people about. So I just, they say, everybody says trust your gut, use your senses. Breeder Steve, yesterday, that fucking episode, he's such a badass. I am a little upset I didn't get no dick pic to be on the show, but I'll let it slide. But yeah, he's got some good ass info.
He does. He's a funny guy, man. Uh, that fucking brew he drinks every time throughout the whole thing, it just
Yeah.
looks fucking. I'm serious. That was a tall glass, and at one point I'm sitting there. I'm like, you couldn't even see any portion of his fist behind that glass through that dark ass brew. I was wondering the whole time. I'm like, is that for real beer, or is that some dark ass coffee? My coffee wasn't even
Yeah,
fucking dark and shit.
yeah. That was really interesting. I'm
Oh
talking about
man.
that sleepy time brew, with the beer with the instead of using hops, using the cannabis.
Yeah, that'd be well. They're such a similar plant. It seems
Yeah,
like you could swap one out for the other real
yeah.
easily, or at least mix them in there. Definitely.
Oh yeah, I don't see why not. I have brewed beer before. I brewed like a IPA. It was like a honey IPA. It was pretty cool. It was brewed 1 gallon, and it was a little brew kit that you could buy online, like Brooklyn Brew Store or something. It was a lot of work for a gallon of beer because you don't even get a whole gallon. You get a little bit less than a gallon once it's all done fermenting and all that. Then you bottle it up, and you have to leave some for sediment and all that. Excuse me. I drank all the beers that I bottled. I drank them all in about a week. So it was like 3 months worth of work, with all the brewing and the letting them sit, and age and all that. And then I drank them in a week, and they were delicious, but it's just a lot of work unless you do it on a bigger scale. And I didn't want to do it on a bigger scale. Maybe one day. I just didn't really have a whole lot of space to do it at the time.
That was my next question: is does it take up a lot of space? Because the fermenting process puts CO2 in the air.
Yeah,
It's kind of
I
good for your growth space.
I don't have any CO2 injection or anything like that. I use the 1 gallon milk jugs with yeast and sugar water for CO2. It doesn't really boost it up a lot. Now that I got a monitor and I can actually watch it, at least in my space, it doesn't boost it up a lot unless the tent is fully sealed, like the small tent, and you have a couple of them in there. But I feel like it helps. Helps them get through the hot times. A lot of silica I found helps as well, to try to, it almost seems to like beef up their stems a little bit, helps them get through some of that heat stress.
B vitamins. B vitamins are critical during heat times like that. Back off the nutrients, little B vitamins, higher CO2, and keep them leaves shaking, man. I'm seeing plants stay
Yeah.
healthy easily 95, 100 degrees.
Oh
Uh,
yeah.
I don't suggest that, but
Yeah, no.
they definitely
Yeah, I don't
run.
suggest it.
Actually, used to run in an attic space and
Yeah, I
used to
remember you
fight
saying that.
conditions like that. Yeah, there would be times where I used to do this occasionally. Would be if I knew I was gonna fucking battle a hot day or two, I would go and snag me some CO2 or some dry ice, I'd rather, and just
Yeah.
throw that shit in a bucket and puncture. I had holes in the top of the and just let it sit in the fucking corner of the room and just disperse that CO2 up into the air where the fan was hitting it. It helped the plants stay happy during that hot time and help the the room stay a little bit cool. It didn't help a whole
Yeah.
shitload to help it cool, but as far as the CO2 factor, that's what I wanted there. Always got by. Always got by.
Yeah. Yeah, I had
Environments like
a.
that help you train you.
Mm-hmm. Hell yeah. I ain't gonna know how to act whenever I get my temperatures under control.
It's all learning curve, and you might as well
Oh
start.
yeah,
That's the
always
way
learning.
I almost like to learn everything, stumble and fall, and oh man,
Hey,
them are the
you
best
gotta,
lessons. You don't want
you gotta,
to after you fell and bloody your nose, man. You don't want to fucking do that shit again. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Them are
no
the
shit.
best
You
lessons.
gotta burn to the ground, to actually rise up and, figure that shit out. Nobody's ever born knowing it. So you gotta, if you're not very smart like me, or, like I could read shit and I can remember, a lot of stuff like that. But sometimes I need the inspiration to, see other people do it. And then I'm like, man, what the fuck? Why am I doing it like this? Because I can do it similar to what they're doing, and, and improvise it to work for my situation. So sometimes, those ideas, they don't just pop up to me. I have to, steal some of other people's ideas. But that's why I try to post as much as I can, and I try to put some info out there. That way, everybody can get a little bit of info here and there.
Rolling up another brown there. Same
Yes,
strain.
sir. Yeah. Yeah, I've been having to buy my weed, from the dispensary
Wait,
since I've been without. So I buy two strains, most of the time, for a nighttime and daytime. But man, the last time I got this shit, it was so good. I was like, yeah, that may wreck me a little bit, but I could smoke that all the time.
yeah, I
Oh,
fucking unfortunately made it to a dispensary today, or provisioning center, I guess I should say, to
yeah,
pick up some extracts because I haven't made my damn hash yet. I've got plenty of shit to make it, but I just haven't had the time. But I'm ran out of some extracts. So and it was a new place. I wanted to check it out a little bit too. So I went over there and checked it out. They had some nice stuff. They had some nice stuff, but I have yet to dive in. I've been kind of waiting for the show because
yeah,
one of them things you don't know what you're getting into. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Sometimes.
yeah. Especially with like
Yeah.
extracts. I mean, you can
Do
read
you
the
dab
label,
it
but
off?
you don't know. Yeah, yeah. I don't dab as much. I'm more of a flower guy. I really enjoy to smoke. I like all the different flavors and tastes and shit that I get. Whenever I smoke, and it's always been kind of like my meditation at the end of the day. I'd roll up. I used to smoke blunts back in the day. So I'd smoke my blunts and I'd sit back and fucking hit them. And shit, now I smoke my joints, and I mean, I still meditate, but I hit my dabs every now and then. I actually have some really nice, almost one-to-one train wreck from that cannabis dispensary, and they it was 24% THC, I believe, and 30% CBD. And when I first got it, I was like super baked whenever I tried it for the first time, and it completely killed my buzz. I was like, oh my god, this shit's horrible. So I didn't want to smoke it anymore. But I found out you gotta hit that shit, whenever you're nice and sober and you feel great. It gets you right where you need to be, a little bit, kind of tingly feeling and all that. But yeah, I found if I'm really ripped and I hit that shit, it'll completely kill the buzz.
Man, I picked up some pretty extracts today. Do you know who White Boy Rick is? You ever hear White Boy
I don't think so.
Rick? White Boy Rick was a drug dealer in Detroit for a while. He started dealing drugs, cocaine and shit when he was like super young, teens, and was actually jailed real young and never let out until he just got out like this last year. But when I was in the provisioning center today, they actually had some concentrates that they were calling White Boy Rick. I thought that was kind of funny, but it was
Damn.
pretty stuff, man. It
Must be
says
paying him a damn
trying to
royalty.
say 90%, 90% THC is what they're calling that. Then I picked up some sweet tea, which they couldn't answer me if it was like a subcool sweet tea
Yeah.
or the burner version of sweet tea. They were saying that this one's going for 77.6, and then I picked up some strawberry guava keef that looked pretty good. I guess I could try to share. The camera's back in.
Yeah.
Show you.
Yeah, I've been
This
milking the
shit is
same
pretty.
1 gram live rosin for shit. I've been milking it for, I guess, 3 weeks, 4 weeks. I'd much rather smoke.
This is a gram of the. Damn it! I just had this thing open too. I think I put it on there half-assed. My luck, I'm gonna spill it. There we go. Woo. All right, here you go. This is how can you never get a good? I mean, it's just white powder.
Yeah, it looks like that crumble stuff.
It stinks pretty good.
Yeah, one day I do want to get a press. I would like to press my own shit.
Someday, I'm not there either, brother. I'm not there either. Everybody's like, "How you need to get one?" I'm like, man, I've got enough irons in the fire right now.
Yeah.
This shit takes a little time.
Shit. Yeah.
This is the sweet tea. I'm almost guessing it's could be Stubbs version. There, really greasy. Smells like oranges. Really good. I haven't got to try none of this yet, except some of this strawberry guava keef, which was pretty good. It was actually really strawberry.
It's surprising, you know, because like most of the time, whenever it's called, you know, strawberry whatever, or you know, chocolate this or whatever, you smell it. I'm like, what the fuck? I don't even smell it. But it's just, I don't know, maybe poor pheno choices or whatever, you know, on the grower side, or just passing off of something that is not. I don't know. Oh shit! I gotta shout out my boy. I gotta shout out my boy Wayne.
Because I'm kind of.
Yeah, I gotta shout out my boy Wayne in chat. Old school snake breeder, man. He's got some crazy shit, man. I'm kind of scared of snakes. Like I'm all right with them as long as I can see them, and you know, and they're not too close. I mean, and I can fuck with, you know, some tame ones, but man, he's got these big monster motherfuckers. They're like huge, and I'm like, nah, dude, it's all good.
Yeah, I'm not so great with snakes myself.
Yeah, fuck that.
I'm not so great.
Yeah, I like them all right. Yeah, sneaky, so they're little sneaky snakes.
Something that can just eat something like that whole. I mean,
dislocate their jaw and shit.
Man, when they decide to eat something, yeah, they commit, man. They commit.
Yeah,
whole people in some of them snakes. I mean, that's. Yeah, they just taking a bite and moving on. They're choking you out. They're choking you out and then swallowing you whole.
Yeah, crushing your bones, squeezing you every time you breathe out, just a little bit tighter and a little bit tighter. Fuck all that. I'm good.
Yeah, I'm good. Fish are cool. Fish are cool though.
Yeah.
Fish are cool.
Yeah, you know, one upside of having the red wigglers and the fish, you know, I feed my fish, you know, some of the worms. a lot of them I have to cut the worms into smaller pieces unless I really, fish around for the smaller worms. But I feed them the worms here and there as like a little snack, especially whenever I can tell like the female is holding eggs, like she's starting to get gravid or whatever, where her belly's swelling up. I'll feed them, the worms for a little bit of extra protein, and they're nice and gut loaded, all the bacteria, in the fucking worm bins. So fish love them; they tear them up.
So it surprised me to hear that you could put coffee grounds in your worm bin there. That seemed like a pretty good idea. It seemed like a good source of nitrogen, and even after the worms process it,
Yeah,
another good. Seemed like a win-win there.
yeah. I got I have 3 bins indoors, and on these 3 bins, I try to cycle around what I put in them, and I have them. I don't really have them numbered, but I have them in an order so I know which one's oldest to the youngest bin. That way I can kind of cycle them around for the pots outdoors. But as long as you don't really overdo it, I haven't had a problem with it. I don't really know what I'm doing with that shit either. I'm just winging that too. I feed them what I think worms should eat. I research some stuff online, and they're like, don't feed them onions. So I'm like, all right, I ain't putting no onions in there. But everything else, I wing it.
Yeah. See, I'm actually kind of interested in this fucking organics thing, but
I've been seeing.
once I take a hobby and shit like that, I just like fucking run with that shit. You know what I mean? I'm just like balls in, and I'm afraid. Maybe that's it. Maybe that's it. Maybe I'm afraid that maybe by this time next year, I'm just gonna be wrapped around a tree, just it's this, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That far into it, because I'm already seeing this just like as we speak here. I'm a heavy coffee drinker. Oh, if I can get rid of my coffee grounds, not by adding it to the fucking worm bed.
Yeah.
You know what
Vegetable
I'm saying?
scraps.
And then I was
Yeah.
like, listening to some Bokashi bullshit over the weekend, trying to pry him out for the Brandon Rust interview there. And
Yeah.
that got me thinking and shit. Oh, wow. Now I can compost shit like that too.
Yeah.
And I can just, oh man, I can just see before too long jumping in this and just like, being that guy where like I got a tub fucking Ben for like everything, just yelling at everybody around the house and
Yeah.
shit. Nope, that goes there and shit.
Yeah. Yeah.
Recycling all this shit.
I'm always telling my
And
daughter, I'm like, don't throw that shit
yeah,
away.
I can
Don't throw that
honestly see
away.
that. Especially, I gotta. I'm I'm so far in the woods right now. I gotta take there's no garbage man here. I have we have a recycling area where we like either you load your shit on a trailer in the back of your truck or how the fuck you gotta get it there. But when your garbage gotta go, you're loading that shit up and taking it and throwing it in this compactor. And so once I can honestly see, once I get on that I'll be like, yeah, let's see how low that I can make that garbage. Just
Yeah.
plastics, like almost get it right down to plastics.
That's what I'm trying to do.
I don't
Try to
know if I
save
got that
cardboard
kind of time. I'm
boxes.
telling you, that's the
Yeah, I try to save all that shit. Cardboard boxes, like brown paper that you get in the Amazon boxes. It's like a cardboard style paper. I keep all that shit. I shred it up. Had a failed harvest of some morning dews due to those bugs. Like whenever I harvested it, the bugs, they kept going. Like they followed the plant into my drying area, and they just continued to eat on it until it was completely destroyed. So I ran all that, probably like 6 or 7 ounces of weed and stems. I ran it all through the fucking wood chipper I got out back, and yep, I fed that back to my worms. So, and what I did notice, I actually noticed it today. That's been a few weeks. There's a big population of these predator mites. Like they almost look like a spider mite, but they're bigger. They're orange, real fast little bastards. And yeah, there's a big population of those guys and rope beetles. And I never bought road beetles. Like a lot of people, they buy road beetles and these mites that I'm talking about. People buy them online. They actually like came into my shit naturally. And since I recycle my soil and just kind of re-amend it and just reuse it, uh, like I feel like they're just fucking blowing up because now I don't have as many outside due to like they started getting shit cleaned up and dying off. Now they're at a normal number, but inside my worm bins, since I added that all that infested weed that was dried up, man, they're going to town. Kind of broke my heart. I ain't gonna lie, running a bunch of weed through a wood chipper, but it ground it up pretty good. It looked like pre-roll. Like I could have made a whole shit ton of pre-rolls with it.
Yeah, it's got to be heartbreaking. It's another thing too that I watched over the weekend too. That the bokashi just out of the canvas leaves there. Yeah, the shade leaves seemed like to
Yeah.
be a great idea.
Yeah, I
That's an
inoculated my worm bins
interesting
with
method
bokashi.
right there.
Yeah. Yeah, I put bokashi, like the bokashi grain or brand, bokashi brand, in my worm bins to inoculate. I've inoculated into my soil a few times, seeing like the mycelium growth. And whenever I water in the malted barley, it will get, a slight mycelium growth. But I keep my shit really nice, thick mulched to keep a bunch of shit from, getting in and out to try to keep the pests down. And with that really thick, like straw mulch, uh, I don't get as big of a mycelium mat unless I pull it back and actually look at it. But it's pretty cool, when you can pull it back and you see all your worms, take off. And I do the avocado tech, a lot of people talk about where you take the avocado half and take the seed out. And for a while, I was just putting the avocado straight down and just letting the worms go to town. And it works really well like that. They'll, you know, build up a gigantic ball of worms inside of there and eat that shit all down. But what I've been doing the last couple of times, I scrape all the avocados out of the shells, like I'm going to make guacamole, and I'll mix all my dry amendments like in real small amounts, like a little spoonful here of each, all my different shit I have, like 10 or 11 different things. And it's just a real small amounts to try to keep a real broad, it's all the NPK, but it's all different sources of the NPK to try to keep it, I guess try to keep it balanced. So I blend all that together in a food processor, and then I pack it back into the avocado halves and put them in the bins, and I put them in my pots and my little grow bed. I have cover crops and shit, so I like peel back the little cover crops and put it down in there. That the worms, they go to town. If my internet worked better, we would have been outside. But my grow, the internet sucks. I can barely get my Amazon Alexa deal to play. I play my girl some classical music, but it'll barely play. It cuts off all the time. But yeah.
Couldn't be any worse than what mine's been tonight.
Hey,
Man,
we're
my
here. We
internet's
made
been
it.
terrible
Made it
tonight.
so far.
So it couldn't have been that bad. I'm surprised it's held out. I really am. I'm thankful for that. I really am.
Oh yeah. What's up, Chiba man?
Man, I went in today to the post office and dumped off another load of grow along packs there. And man, that guy just looked at me. It was actually literally a grocery bag, plastic bag, and it was heaping. I actually, I was sitting there like all like afternoon, just like going through emails. And by the way, if you want to participate in the grow along, there sure isn't uh, a cutoff date. If you want to fucking take part in this, and you haven't got if something back from me that says mailed, I haven't got to you yet. So you might want to shoot me another email or whatever DM to make sure you get yours. But there's still plenty to go along. We're in the Agent Orange type phase of it all, tier of it all. But I walked in there, it was like 20 after 4, and post office closes at 5. And they got the whole COVID blocker there. And he's like, just give it to me. And he's a big guy, man. He's like 6'5", and he's like obviously not having a like great day already. And I go, it's so big. I try to shove it under there, and it won't even go under the glass. I kind of just shoved the opening like under the glass and just went foof and just like ejected the bottom out at him. And it just like went he's like
Cascade.
he's like yeah, he's like holy shit, man. He's like, how many's in here? I'm like 60 or so. And he's like, for real, man? I'm like, yep, for real. He's like, oh, he's just like shaking his head. And he's like, just going through, because he's got to go through them almost one by one. And he's like, then he starts getting the ones like overseas. He's like, how many of these do you got? I'm like, there's a few. He's like, can you at least separate them for me? And I'm like, now we got to like a little line be going behind me because this is like small town post office. So we're going both. I'm separating him, and people behind me are just like looking at me like, you asshole. I'm like, first come, first serve. But he was really good about it. I mean, he saved me some bucks actually. I was
Oh
pretty
yeah.
pleased about that. He helped me out. So
You should
if you
have.
haven't got the return from me that says mail, give me a DM.
You should have looked at him straight face when that busted and been like, message.
I actually did. I'm like, man, they're hiring. I went and told my daughter, man, they're hiring up there, 17.50 an hour. He's like, man, we're starting to put in some long hours. I'm like, good, good.
Oh, yeah, at least it
I've
makes
been
some money.
It's weird, man. It's the weirdest shit, man. Shit, I think I don't know how it works. Things go away fast, but don't come back that quickly. If
Yeah.
that makes any sense. Like mail coming my way is slow as shit. Slow as shit. But I can
Yeah.
mail something out and like before I know it, like the people's got it. I'm like, really? How do you guys get your shit so fast? It's
Probably
like,
because you had to
man,
drive the
there's
hard
like
part. You got to
I
drive all
think
the
I'm
way to
like
the
there's like
post office.
I no, I think they're like there's like a hub like in mid Michigan, and it's like it goes this way, it goes that way, and there's just like shit don't go that way. It's like just sits in that basket until it's worth the run and shit. And they're like, yeah,
Yeah.
I guess I'll head that way.
Damn.
But man,
So what you been
so
smoking on?
yeah, I'm smoking on a little bit of that Challenger Deep, and I had packed some of that strawberry, or I sprinkled a little bit of that strawberry guava in there.
Oh yeah.
I think I might be willing to take a dab. You,
Oh yeah.
if you got, you have anything over there to dab on, or you just smoking?
Nah, just smoking. Shit, I'll light back up though. Yeah, I left all my dab shit. Like I usually smoke actually outside, close to my girls. Figure get them a little extra CO2, and it's kind of my deal. I go smoke and I go in there, check them out, nice and chill, relaxed. Try to keep my energy cool. Try to keep them, like everybody talks about they feel your energy. So I set up playing classical music, to let them vibe out to some Bach, just let their leaves go. But uh, shit, I smoke, give them a little CO2, and then check them all over. Water. I think it's how I overwatered that one because I was probably pretty fucking high. I was probably smoking this shit, honestly. This triple chocolate chip. But yeah, I was just like, she looks a little thirsty, and yeah, she wasn't very thirsty. You're muted. You're muted, Eagle.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I said, I was saying, I even bought this new fucking little dab thing today, another little straw. I was
Yeah.
saying, so much flavor seems to get lost to this fucking titanium. It just
See,
seems to,
that's what I got is the titanium. I need to get me a new rig. I got an eBay little nectar collector. It gets the job done,
and
but
for,
it's not
for
connoisseur
some
grade.
reason, I don't like the shape of it either. 'Cause it's,
Yeah.
I don't know. They fucking, this, I had a similar, I don't know. I got home and I thought about it and I'm like, why'd you do that? I bought one. I had a nice little glass one of these. This brand, I bought like a fucking week or so ago, and I hit it with. I was just a regular torch. It melted the fucking. It had a small end on it anyway, and like I seen it turn red, and that was it, man. It fucking sealed itself shut. And I was like, damn, I didn't even know you could do that shit,
Yeah,
man.
I didn't
Really?
know. Mine looks like it may have a stress crack or something in it from heating it up so much, but there for a while I was taking a bunch of dabs. Man, I got little baby lungs. I know you talked about like how your lungs, you can't take real big dabs. And man, I fucking hit these big dabs. I try to let them cool down, and I'm like dying for a good 5, 10 minutes. I'm inside like trying to sit play a video game or some shit, and I'm like fucking hacking. I mean, I still do it anyway, but it's just way more once I've been dabbing.
Yeah. Yeah, I like the nectar collector. It just seems to give you just enough, and if
Yeah,
I have to do a dab, I think the cold starts the more easier route on my lungs.
yeah.
I think I'm gonna fucking go in on some of this white boy Rick, man. I wish I could give you a better shot of that, and it's pretty,
Oh
definitely
yeah,
pretty.
enjoy that.
Hopefully it's an uppity bus. That's what I was like reserve before the show getting into it or not. You know what I mean? Because like I said, just because it's high THC don't mean shit to me.
Yeah,
It could be up, it could be down.
yeah,
They didn't specify really necessarily what she was made of, and
yeah.
so hopefully she's a sativa-ish, and I just don't like melt right after this dab. After we'll
I
see,
do
we'll see.
I let my nose tell me what I want. I like to smell. I don't buy on numbers. I usually find that most of the stuff that I like the smell of and that I enjoy to smoke is the lower number, shit anyway. So, I just go in there and I'm like, what you got? Let me smell it. I love smelling my plants, as they're growing. I'm bad with describing it. I mean, I try really hard, but it's hard for me. It's hard to describe a feeling, because like to me, whenever I smell shit, I get like feelings, and that's how I associate smells, like a sharp smell or a light, or a deep smell or something.
Sounds like you'd be a good judge at a competition. I'm gonna play the dab song for me if you don't mind.
Hell
Hopefully,
yeah, I've had it.
if it's too loud, let me know. I'll try to. I never know when I gotta guess how bad it is on the other side. So if it's too bad, let me know. Here you guys go. Cheers, the dab song.
Cheers, guys.
She comes in. Man, I couldn't do no fucking. It's funny watching letting up Tim doing his fucking dance. He does them like fucking whole 1 gram dance, super hot.
Yeah, like Ross the Jeff. Yeah, yeah, I know. Ross the Jeff. He likes to take them big old fat hot dabs. I watch him. I admire him for it because I'm like, man, I wish I could do that. I'd be dying.
That's the thing he does too, though. I think that's the fucking funny part is, man, his pet neighbors probably don't know if he's just a fucking crazy sex addict over there or what the fuck he's doing. Because he's got that Canadian roar and he's like super loud. So when he hits it, he's like, oh God, oh shit. He's coughing and shit. He fucking goes at her for a minute. Yeah, I didn't get her hot enough. I'm a little leery on these fucking this thing now.
Oh
I
yeah, I
really
gotta
didn't
use
know you could.
insect press. Yeah, insect press all the way. I put that shit in my worm bins. I brew it up into a tea every now and then. Not too much. That shit stinks. If you brew up a neem seed meal, that shit stinks really bad too. It will stink your house up. Almost smells like barbecue sauce, but it's fucking nasty.
Well, this is my report on this fucking thing.
Hear it.
Obviously, I swear, I backed off on the E because I thought I'd seen the fucking glass like moving again. And I know I did. So I let off on the heat because I thought I was getting too hot. And I can actually see the oil in it right now.
Damn.
So I let off the heat and I went in on it. And I couldn't really tell you how it hit, but it tastes like lemons because I fucking just sucked in probably about a fucking quarter-inch a day or a quarter gram fucking powder and shit.
Yeah.
Didn't even fucking melt it. It just blasted it all in just like a regular straw and shit.
Sucks
And
it
I
up
didn't
into
end
the
up
end
just
of
like
it.
eating it. I was really
Yeah.
hoping to smoke that shit.
Yeah, I use the like real fine. I use the really, really fine point, on that titanium now. That way I can like almost like completely close it off to the glass and then it'll pull, around it. It'll pull it up, underneath it. But I also try not to like dab and out of the same container. I'll like put it in something smaller, like a smaller glass, and just keep like filling it up. Unless it's too soupy. If that shit's like real runny or whatever, I'd just leave it in there.
I think I'm gonna go with the smaller joint. I'm just gonna fucking load that bitch up with some of that extract. It's so powdery, it'd be easier to just load up the center of the fucking joint with some instead of trying to burn it.
Yeah.
That's the route I'm going with this shit. As
Shit,
long as it
Eagle.
goes
I'm
right.
probably about to head out, but I need to do the soundbite.
No, nice.
Yeah,
I'm
I'm getting
ready.
pretty
Let me
tired.
clip this here. Here we go, brother. Hey, I'm ready when you are.
All right. This is Double Tap Farms. Been fucking talking shit with Eagle. I hope you listen to this episode and I hope you enjoy it. Have a great night.
Yeah, thank you, man. I
Yeah.
I appreciate you being an awesome guest and a fucking me being such a shitty host on this end, man. Zoom's
Ah,
been
dude.
terrible on my
Hell
end
no,
tonight.
man. I appreciate you
You've
letting
been
me come
great
on,
about
man.
it.
I appreciate you inviting me on. I think it's been great.
Well, like I said, you held it down good tonight because there's been times what I was getting in my end was like it seemed like 10-second bursts. Like I would
Yeah.
get nothing and then I'd get it all in like one of those blah 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 blah. I was like,
Yeah.
But
Yeah. It's
I don't.
working
I
pretty
was just
well
thinking to
now.
myself, I hope he's. I hope he's not getting this on his end, but he's like, I think the chat. See, if I was reading the chat correctly, I think they were saying there was times where I was like coming in like 20 seconds in the middle of like you talking or something.
Oh no, it like
But you were just making it
well,
work. I appreciate that.
yeah, shit. Just a little bit of lag, but we got it. Oh yeah, man. Well, I appreciate you having me on.
Well, you know the deal. These numbers don't change. So the next time you see like a panel or a rabbit hole, you're up and want to hang out, fucking jump in and talk some shit with us, brother.
All right, man. I definitely appreciate that. All right, Chad. Y'all have
All
a great
right,
night.
man.
You can follow me on Instagram, dubbltap.farms.
Any other shout outs you want to give before you pop out one last time?
Yeah, fucking shout out Can of Queen's Guard, fucking bunch of badass people. Shout out my buddy Wayne. No, duh. Oh, I got some slap stuff. Or Wayne. Shit, I'm fucking calling myself. I'm retarded. Anyway. Yeah, I got some slap swings, but all I got. But anyway, uh, shit, that's about all I got. Y'all take it easy.
All right. Have a good night, man. Thank you. Thank you very
Yep.
much, man.
Thank you. Enjoy the rabbit hole.
Double tap. Thank you, man. Double Tap Farms, man. A great episode. If you're not following him, be sure to go over there and give him a follow. You guys know the deal. I'm gonna wrap this up so I don't fuck it up and it don't get taken down. I try to respect my guests like that. So I had a few that gotten taken down, and so far so good. I think I've made everybody right except I grew some, and I'm still trying to make it right with him on getting that episode back up. I think his episode actually did re-air on the backup channel. So, but I learned my lesson. So give me a few. I'm gonna actually uninstall this damn Zoom and then reinstall it, and then I'll be right back with the rabbit hole. Worst comes to worst, I got StreamYards. So I'll see you in a few. For those who do not want to hang out in the rabbit hole, thank you so much for hanging out with me and my guests. Double Tap Farms. Uh, as always, dude, please do something nice for somebody. Random acts of kindness do save lives. I do all the thank yous and shout outs at 420. So that's the way I thank everybody. So tune into the rabbit hole and hang out. We'll see you in a few. Thanks. Peace.